Hi, Peace with Endo community. How's it going today? Thank you so much for taking the time out to watch the replay of this video. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to drop them in the comment section below because I do check back on those. If you are new to the page, hello, my name is Aubrey Daimler. I am an author and a wellness coach who helps women with endometriosis to naturally manage pain, increase energy, and find peace with endo. So first and foremost, I wanted to thank those of you who have supported me with my new book, Energetics of Endo, which is now available. You can pick up a copy on Amazon or over at peacewithendo.com. I have received such beautiful messages from some of you, so thank you for that, and thank you to those who have supported me in that way. I can tell you that writing a book of this caliber is very personal and vulnerable, and it's not an easy thing to do, right? But as I've been promoting it and doing some podcast interviews for other podcasts as well as on my own podcast, there tends to be this recurring message that keeps coming up that I felt called to share with you tonight. So if you have missed it, over on the podcast, I have been interviewing women who have influenced me in the book, in Energetics of Endo, women who have shifted my perception and made big shifts in my healing journey. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely check it out. I did post a new episode today from Stina Marie, who is amazing. So check that out if you haven't already. But as I've been doing these interviews with these women, and as I've been on other podcasts promoting the book, this message of using your voice keeps coming back up. And on a deeper level, there's this need to be seen. And this has come up over and over again, regardless of when I'm talking to people or even something that I was reading earlier this week. That message keeps coming through that we all have this desire to be seen and to be heard on really this deeper soul level. And I know that's not easy when you're living with a chronic condition, when you have endometriosis. So I wanted to chat a little bit about that today, especially since we are in the eve of Endometriosis Awareness Month, which is March, if you're not familiar. So now is the time really to speak up and to use your voice about a condition that doesn't necessarily always have a voice. If you are watching me live, thanks for joining me. If you're watching the replay, either way, go ahead and say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. So I do think that some of the taboo around periods and menstruation is being broken, right? It was really good to see, hey Kate, thanks for watching. It was really good to see the documentary on periods that won an Oscar, which is awesome. So hey Daisy, thanks for joining in. So there is more people talking about this. So I feel that one of the main emotions that keeps coming up in relation to endometriosis and this whole topic is this topic of shame. So I've talked about this with several ladies this week over on the podcast. And I think a lot of that ties back to societal taboos, about menstruation and our periods. And it's not always something that we talked about. I know for me growing up, it wasn't something that I talked about at all. And I grew up having these super painful periods and didn't know any better because that was the only thing that I knew. My mom struggled with the same kind of issues. So it just got passed down. It just kind of got put in your head that this is a normal thing. So it's definitely not normal. As we all know, painful periods are not a normal thing. But the more that we talk about this, the more that the younger generation knows about that. And I've seen the ripple effect of this happening personally in my life as somebody close to me is going through the process of getting diagnosed. And there's been a huge difference in her experience because she grew up with me, and I've been talking about this for years, and she knew that this is not normal. And as soon as the doctor mentioned endometriosis, she knew she had somebody there who could help her through the whole process. So that's powerful, I think, to see that ripple effect happening into the next generation. So I just wanted to pop on tonight and encourage you to use your voice, to share your story, to begin to open up about your experience with endo. And I know that can be a scary thing to do, but it's very healing when you do so. So as I've been exploring the more energetics of endo and talking with these other women on my podcast over the past week, that keeps coming up again and again is that connection energetically between your sacral space, which is the pelvic space, and your throat chakra. So your throat chakra, it's connected energetically, it's connected physically. Your thyroid has a big deal with your hormones and that whole interplay with your menstrual cycle. So if you've got blocked energy in your sacral chakra, which is probably true if you've got endo, one way to release some of that is to use your voice and to get some of that energy moving up and out of you. So your voice is one of the best ways to do that, right? So we are on the cusp here of a month that is dedicated to endometriosis awareness, at least here in the US. I think in the UK there's a week of endo awareness, which I think is next week. So now really is the time to break out of that shell and to talk about it. So you don't have to do this on a big level if that's scary to you, but even as we start to bring it up in conversation or whatnot, or if you do feel brave, you can share on social media in a bigger way, right? Just to share your story, just to share your experience, just to be like, hey, this is what I have, and this is an awareness type month. Maybe you can point them to an article or whatever. And if you haven't done that already, and that feels scary to you, that's a big step. But I'm here to encourage you to do so, because change happens the more and more that we talk about these things. And the more that we talk about it, the more that the taboo starts to get broken, and it becomes just more of a normal thing, right? And that younger generation starts to get diagnosed earlier, and their whole experience with everything changes. Because I do believe that there is that impact, at least I've seen it in my own story, of not being heard, of not being seen, and how much of an impact that has with you on a deeper soul level. And going through this long diagnosis process and talking about it to your doctors and then just getting it shrugged off like, oh, that's normal, when you intuitively you know that it's not normal. There's impacts that has on you on a deeper subconscious level that I've seen in my own story, from not feeling heard, from not feeling seen in the doctor's office. So my experience was endometriosis came into my existence, into my awareness by a coworker of mine, by somebody else outside of the medical system. So I'm so grateful to her for noticing and speaking up. And the more that we pay attention to the women in our lives and talk about it in that sense, you could change somebody's life, because I know that changed my life, just having somebody notice and speak up about it. Natasha says more research is needed. Absolutely. We do need more research, but again, this goes back to the bigger, I think, societal issues that are going on right now, right? Where it's a women's health issue, and unfortunately it doesn't get the attention that it needs. So my hope is that we can do this on a grassroots level, right? Because that's really where change starts to happen. So that's my encouragement for you today as we get ready to move into March and Endometriosis Awareness Month, is to use your voice to share your story, be that on a small level, be it on a big level, just to start talking about it more. And don't be ashamed that it is what it is, right? And the more and more we talk about it, the more that shame starts to go away and women feel more comfortable speaking up about it. So one of my bigger visions moving forward is to help you to have a platform to share your story, to use your voice. Because I know for me, writing the new book, Energetics of Endo, this was very scary for me, putting my story out there as well as my first book. But I can tell you that it was super healing for me to do so. So I am in the process of putting together an anthology type book called Voices of Endo, where it's going to feature your stories from out there in the community. So to give you a platform to share and to distribute on a bigger, larger level so that you can experience that major burst of freedom that comes from breaking through and actually using your voice, be it by hand in this sense, but sharing your story and getting it out there into the world. So if that's of interest to you, if you're a writer or a blogger or anything like that and you want to know more, please feel free to reach out to me, shoot me a PM. I'm kind of in the beginning stages of putting this together, but my goal is to get the book out by next March. So that's exciting, and I do think that will be powerful for those of you who do decide that you want to share your voice. So if you haven't already picked up my new book, Energetics of Endo, it is available now on Amazon, or you can pick up a copy over at peacewithendo.com. This is a very personal story, getting more into the spiritual and emotional side of living with endo and infertility and all the unfolding that happened for me when I started exploring deeper. Daisy said that's so great. Awesome. I think so too. So yay, exciting things are coming on the horizon. So I do really want to continue to help many of you heal. And I think some of that comes from using your voice and breaking some of those feelings of shame and really stepping into that freedom of this is who I am and this is a part of it, right? So thank you so much for watching tonight. If you did find this helpful, please feel free to share with your friends, tag another endo sister in the comments who you feel this would serve. And again, use your voice. We're coming into Awareness Month. Use this as your inspiration to use whatever platform you have on social media or just talking to a friend. Get some of that energy flowing out of your throat space. Get it moving from being so stuck and stagnant in that sacral pelvic space. So thank you again for listening tonight. Mwah! I'm sending you all so much love and we'll chat soon. Bye for now.